Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
Here's how to get over your public speaking nerves. And the operative word here is get over. So it could be get over yourself, get over your anxiety, and maybe get over your ego. At the end of the day, we are coaches and consultants, and one of the aspects of us delivering our message is being able to speak in front of an audience. Okay. So there you are. You've decided to dip your toes in, the world of public speaking, which is something that you should do anyway, because at the end of the day, our audience is searching for our solutions. So we should be able to consult, we should be able to train, inform, and dish out our expertise. But sometimes, other people might just want to experience our products, and that's why we have to be in front of an audience. Either it's our own audience or we are invited to speak. This is where paid speaking gigs can come through. So I've created other podcasts that talk about how to turn your book into a workshop, or how to turn any ebook or videos into workshops that people can actually pay you to present to, either their staff members or just to them as individuals. So let's just say you decided to, reach out to an audience and dip your toes into public speaking. You're going to set up, your career based on disseminating your message, in the public space. You could either do that on Zoom, or you could do that face to face. Okay. So you're going to set up on stage and give a presentation, or maybe offer a workshop to people who want to learn from you. And obviously you get excited about all of this, and as sure as it comes, you should be, obviously you're an expert, you know your stuff, you've planned your speech, you've prepared all the handouts and maybe business cards or whatever worksheets that people need to work with when you show up at the event. You've strategized all the timing, you've got the stories all in check, you've put it all together, and you even have an offer. When you're finished speaking, your room is booked, everybody's gone, and you're also ready to go. But there's only one problem that normally comes in, and it reminds me of the great orator himself, M.E.D.I.A. When he talks about his palms are sweaty, knees weak, mom spaghetti. You're standing there in front of people, you're sweating bullets just because you're absolutely terrified to speak into a whole crowd of strangers. Let me tell you something. You are not alone at this. Even Jerry Seinfeld, who talks to a myriad of audiences and actually has to make people laugh. You know how hard it is to make somebody laugh? It's one of the hardest things. And Jerry Seinfeld himself says it best. He says that according to most studies, people's number one fear is actually public speaking, and number two is death. Now, can you imagine? People are much more terrified to die than to speak in public. Do you think that sounds right? This actually means, to the average person, if you go to a funeral, somebody would be better off in the casket than actually be the person who's doing the eulogy. So that's how terrified a lot of people are. And if you're not afraid of dying, then what else is there? Okay? So you're absolutely thinking right now that, I've heard that before, that, people would rather be the person that's saying the eulogy than the person that's in the casket. And you know what? He's absolutely right. Some people would rather die than stand up and speak in front of an audience, with all eyes on you. Even though some people give advice as saying, hey, you could just pretend that everybody else was in the room, is naked, and then it'll be easy for you to connect with them. Okay, and you're probably standing in front of that audience, and you start thinking to yourself, wait a minute, what if I'm gonna forget what I'm about to say? What if I fumble around and sound dumb or trip over the stage and fall? There's not gonna be like a podcast or a video where you can always edit out the mishaps and stuff like that. But let me tell you something, man. It's you showing up to your audience in your rawest form, and people would absolutely adore you for that. Okay. One other thing that happens is nobody knows what you're going to say. So even if you say the wrong things, or you say it or fumble through your words, they'll just assume that it's probably part of the act. But unless it's all really, really wrong, and then you get to be fact checked and then maybe get canceled, I don't know. But at the end of the day, that's how a lot of people feel. So you're not alone, okay? And maybe you're sitting there in front of, that audience now, and you're thinking, what have I gotten myself into, and how the hell am I going to get out of it? Your mouth starts drying out, and you reach out for water, and then you're just afraid. Everything just seems like it's going to go wrong. But let me tell you something. Before you start panicking, I want you to keep this in mind. Like I keep repeating, you are not alone. I've been invited to speak in a lot of places where I have to really, go and try and convince an audience that digital marketing is not just them rubbing their money on their screen of their computer and kissing it goodbye. No, that's not it. It's actually a way that we turn strangers into happy clients that pay, stay, and refer. Okay. And, I have to deal with people that are so much used to instant gratification that they don't even want to wait until, a post starts working in and of itself to start generating leads, and they start thinking that they're being taken for a ride and they're not going to get a return on their investment. So let me tell you something, you're not alone. Everybody else who had their first day when they had to speak first in front of an audience, and 9 times out of 10 they always get a standing ovation. You know what? When you're up there in front of people, you are the expert. Okay. So it's perfectly normal for you to feel afraid or nervous, especially if it's the first time that you're actually speaking to people. And it's actually an estimated 75% of people experience public speaking fear. So that's actually a human thing, all right? When you put in front of a pedestal, your ego, you might stand up, but your brain remains sitting down, and you gotta, bring your all in order for you to get people to know, like, and trust you, and eventually want to do business with you. All right. So it has been studied quite a lot. So if you find it very difficult for you to stand up, especially even on Zoom, I have Zoom meetings all the time. And if you're the person who has to present, it just is not an easy thing. And I also read somewhere where it says Psychology Today says that fears of public speaking may actually stem from a threat of being evaluated or judged by your peers, and in this case it will be the audience. So in other words, you're probably afraid that everybody's just sitting there and watching you, and is totally passing judgment on every aspect of your presentation, your personality, your clothing, your facial expressions, your hair, how you look, how you talk, how you sound, all of those things. And you're worried that you might not meet their expectations. And you get what's called stage fright or performance anxiety at its best. Let me tell you something. You're not afraid of speaking. You're always speaking every single day. You speak to your mother, your father, your daughter, your sister, your brother, your son, or whoever. We're always talking. We know how to order coffee. We talk to people. We talk to the doctor. Heck, I was talking to the dentist today, even with my mouth filled up with all the equipment that they're putting in my mouth, but I was still talking back to them. So we are always speaking. All right. So I want you to very much understand that you're not afraid of speaking. You know your stuff. You're an expert. You already got there. They asked you to come. So they must have seen something about you that they want you to share with them. Okay. So you're not afraid of speaking. You're speaking every single day. You're speaking to your family, your friends, that checkout girl, the grocery beggar boy. You spoke to the barman yesterday when you were at the bar. You spoke to that nice girl at the hardware store. You spoke to that nice guy who was at the checkout at some point. So you're always speaking. Heck, you've even spoken your way out of a traffic fine, or you know what I mean? As kids, we speak ourselves out of trouble. So we can speak. We have spoken ourselves out of something that would have been detrimental to our health or hazardous to us, or that could have killed us. We spoke our way out of a lot of things. So you have speaking in public down pat, because you can do that already. What you're really afraid of is that you might make a fool of yourself in front of a room full of people. And now that's a different problem in and of itself. It's psychological, it's our ego, and it's just how we're wired as human beings. So I want you to get this right. You're not afraid of speaking in public. You're just afraid of the consequences. All right. So, you know what I mean? So here's a couple of things that you can actually try for yourself in order for you to get started and actually just show up, either even on a mic like this. A lot of people are afraid to have a podcast just simply because they're afraid, what if I don't know what to say? You know what I do every single morning? I just walk through my single day, look through on LinkedIn, speak to my little girls, speak to my team, and whatever comes up, I seek out for content opportunities or seek out for opportunities that I can teach somebody something. So this actually emanated, when I was getting one of my team members to create a little poster around my next speaking gig, and then she was like, "Oh my God, sir, you are going to be, speaking. This is the fourth speaking event that you've done this whole month. Are you not afraid of speaking in public?" And I was like, whoa, I've never really sort of thought about that, because when I show up at a speaking engagement, I'm there for the audience. And this is something that you should really focus on. You should focus on the audience. You are there to engage those people. You're there to educate them. You're there to inspire them. You're there to provide value and eventually position yourself as, whatever authority that you showed up for. So naturally, what that means is it's no longer about you. It's no longer about how you look. It's no longer about how you dress, or it's no longer about anything. It's about how you want to be seen moving forward by that person or by that crowd. And especially if it entails you selling your products or your services to them, then obviously you want to be seen as the go-to person that they can rely on, just simply because you opened up their mind, you inspired them, and you educated them, and you inspired them to want more, be more, and have more, and you educated them on the steps of how to actually achieve that. So it's not about you. You want to focus on your audience. And once you take off the spotlight from yourself and start asking, yourself, that if there's a woman or a man in the audience that might actually save their life, be better, do better, feel better, or become a better citizen, based on what you would have told them. Who are you? I'm going to repeat that. Who are you to stop them from living their fullest life just simply because you are concentrating on your own ego? You're concentrating on your own looks, and you're concentrating on your own self. And then you don't disseminate that information that they're supposed to receive. Can you imagine how many things did you get, or were you taught by somebody, either at a conference, or you listened to a podcast, or you read somewhere in a blog, and it actually changed the way you viewed a certain aspect in your life? Even though you don't remember who it was, but at least once you know something, you can't unlearn it. All right. So if you are holding information that has probably changed your life, who are you to withhold that information so that other people cannot also transform their lives. We are not in the business of giving information or whatever it is. We're in the transformation business. Whether you're a coach or a consultant or service business owner, if you are a plumber and you know information on how an old lady can stop her pipes from being blocked all the time and wasting money on call-out fees, who are you to not tell her that information so that she can actually save money and live a more fulfilled life? So there's quite a lot of information that we might have. You could be a doctor, and if somebody has a broken leg and that leg has broken through the skin, and then you're withholding that information because you're afraid to say it, you're afraid to pass on that information, who are you to let that person live and wallow in pain? I know these are extreme examples, but I want you to have an understanding that your life story and your experience have such tremendous value that you can actually change somebody's life. You can actually help other people be, do, and have a happier existence just simply by being you, being an example, being a role model that they can look up to or learn from or actually emulate in order for them not to derail their lives. So focus on your audience. And when you can make a fool of yourself, you can't really be laughed at if you're changing lives. So you can't make a fool of yourself if you focus on the people that are sitting in front of you. You can't make a fool of yourself if you're gonna help others have a happier existence. You can't make a fool of yourself if you're giving clarity to other people so that they can live their lives to the fullest. And that's the truth of the matter. Your presentation really isn't about you. I can hardly speak English, and English is not my first language. But you know what I do? I show up every single day. I'm not going to worry that my teeth are backed up or whatever it is. I'm not going to worry that I'm losing hair. Everything that could be making me stop showing up in the public eye is happening to me right now. But you know what? Who am I to stop you from actually having a business that's profitable and enjoyable? Let that sink in a little bit. Who are you to stop other people be, do, and have a happier existence just because you're worried about the zit on your nose? The presentation isn't about you. The transformation isn't about you. You already had your transformation. Why are you stopping other people from receiving and actually achieving that transformation themselves too? It's about your audience. It's about the people who matter. They're the people that actually matter. And when we start living and learning and contributing to the greatness of humanity, then we are doing our part in changing the world and making it a better place for other people as well. So believe it or not, not one person in there is going to throw rotten tomatoes at you while, maybe shouting jeers or, heckling you when you're speaking. They didn't wake up thinking, yeah, awesome, today we're gonna watch somebody fail. Let me tell you something. When you're in front of an audience, you already are head and shoulders above them. They're sitting down, you're standing up. Right? That's where the difference is. Right? So nobody wakes up every single day saying, yeah, we're going to be laughing at her clothes. We're going to be laughing at his jacket. We're going to watch somebody fail. Call the media. Call all the selfie people to take selfies at somebody failing and making a fool of themselves. We have to catch this idiot on film. Nobody wakes up saying that. They woke up thinking, oh, cool, today is the day that so-and-so is going to give us a presentation that I signed up for. I'd better not be late. I don't want to miss anything. And guess what? When they show up, you just want to make sure you engage them, you acknowledge them, and you give them what they came there for. They could have been sitting at home enjoying their lives without having to schlep through the whole city just to make it to your presentation. You don't know how many people would have left their kids at home. You don't know how many people would have left their sick, relatives that they're looking after just so they can get the information that you promised them. You don't know that. So why make it about you? It ain't about you, homie. It ain't about you. These people have left everything else they've known to come and listen to you. And now you make it about yourself. Your audience came to hear you speak because they want to hear you speak. They came for you, nothing else. They're not, what do you call those people? They're not fashion police. They're not, clothing consultants. They've got issues that only you can solve for them. Doesn't matter if a button is missing on your shirt. Doesn't matter if maybe you've got, I don't know, stuff on your teeth, or I don't know, whatever it is. They came to hear what you've got to say. They came for themselves so that they can have their lives changed, so that their lives can be transformed. Look, I keep asking you, who are you to stop somebody be-do and have a happier existence just because you're worried that maybe your shirt is not fitting well? They're interested in what you've got to say. They want you to teach them. They want you to educate them. And your thoughts and your opinions are what they came for. That's the subject at hand. They willingly volunteered their time, money, and effort just because they felt, they felt like if they could listen to you in person, it could change their lives. They're not there for you, my friend. So all you got to do is return and reciprocate that effort. They made the time. You just showed up. They want to succeed. They want to be healthy. They want to be loved. They want to have better relationships. So who are you to stop people from enjoying and receiving that just because you're caught up in your story? They want to succeed. And your success is their success too. And one other thing that you now want to do is when people show up, you got to know your stuff. Find a way to serve people, because if you can help people get what they want, you too can get what you want. So let me tell you something. Lacking confidence in what you know can maybe shake up your nerves easily. So what if somebody asks you a tricky question? What if you don't know the answer? What if you sound uncertain when you talk about the technique? You're not so comfortable with yourself. I mean, obviously, you can't sound uncertain if you know exactly what to say. Let me tell you something. If you look at everybody else in life right now, not a lot of people know as much as you do. And the people that show up to events are there to learn, which means they have already decided that they don't know what you know. So you want to just prepare yourself for that presentation until you know it in your sleep. You want to, just be very well acquainted with the expertise that you're going to be sharing with them. Just know your material inside out, upside down. And when you know your stuff, your confidence just comes naturally and, nothing will trip you. Have you ever noticed that people that, when you go skydiving, you've got a skydiving instructor. Have you ever noticed that the skydiving instructor actually kisses his kids goodbye every single day, knowing that he's going to come back home? Because he's got that knowledge, he's got that experience, he's done it over and over again. Now he can do it in his sleep and he still knows he's going to be safe. The reason why we're afraid is because we lack knowledge. So if you're lacking knowledge, you want to fill up those knowledge gaps with stuff that you might not have, looked after or whatever it is. So rehearse, practice your speech out loud. Like for me, I'm practicing every single day that I'm on this podcast. I'm practicing every single day different angles of how to actually disseminate my information. That's one of the things that you could actually do for yourself. Because if you are constantly talking and if you're constantly getting your mind running and speaking on your toes, guess what? When you actually do a live speaking event, it just feels like you're just speaking to yourself, on a podcast. And that's a trick that you can do for yourself. So you want to practice out loud. Don't just be a one-click wonder. Show up in so many different avenues and explore. And also learn to hear the sound of your voice. Because sometimes when you speak and the microphone amplifies your voice, you start hearing your voice, and that scares a lot of people because they haven't stopped to actually listen to how their voice sounds like when it's coming from a speaker. So maybe practice in front of a mirror, record yourself, and then listen to that again and again. Rehearse how you talk, how you move, how you, because there's some gestures that actually emphasize a point. There's some things, or the timing of what you're doing during the presentation, and make sure that if you need props, you actually have prepared them beforehand. So this is where you can grab maybe your closest friends or somebody who's near you and just ask them to be sitting in the audience and get them to ask you questions. That is something that other people do. You can actually plant somebody from your team or somebody who already knows you just to ask you questions, so that you prepare for those questions well in advance. And when you start becoming comfortable, you can actually pick on whatever questions from anybody else. And remember, these people that are sitting in front of you, they don't know as much as you do. You are the expert. You are who we came to see. It ain't about you. So there you go. You can also maybe take it one step further just to prepare yourself. Take some index cards, maybe write some stuff in your hand, although it doesn't look professional. But guess what? At least you have all those, triggers and pointers that could just bring you back on track. All right, so just outline your presentation and key points. And once you start talking, let me tell you something, your mind shuts up, and then your inner self takes over. And that's who people want to connect with. So know your material, so that it's not a matter of you reading from cards or maybe reading from your hand, and your index cards are just there to support you and help you keep on track, just in case you're worried you might lose your spot. Half of the time, you won't need them, though. You've got this covered. How long have you been in business for? There's no reason for you to freak out. You're just doing your job every single day. And that's when I can just say to you, you know what? Just do it, bro. Just do it. The easiest way to just get over your public speaking nerves is just do it. You won't die. Have you ever heard of any experts that have died? I mean, we revere these experts. We read their stuff. We watch them on videos. It's all speaking in public. It just might be a different media, but it's all public speaking. So what is different about you just being in front of a mic, or you being wired, with a hands-free microphone, and you just telling people how to do and have a happier existence? You won't die. I mean, lightning is not just going to strike you dead, on the spot. You may not give the most maybe flawless presentation ever, but that's fine. Very people ever do anyway. And besides, you've rehearsed this, right? You know exactly what you need to say. You could just flub a line like what I mostly do during the podcast, but who knows? Nobody knew what you were going to say. Or maybe you might forget a joke, or you might not deliver it well, or just laugh at yourself a little bit and move on. Your audience will think you are actually, authentic or funny. And they'll smile at your bravery for doing what most people can't do themselves. Let me tell you something. Most people are absolutely admiring you for being confident enough to do something that they can't do themselves. So you see now, the real key to feeling confident about your presentation is most people never even try to do what you will, So they actually let fear hold them back, and they spend their entire lives wishing, I wish I could do this. I wish I did. I wish I showed up, or I wish I just got over my nerves. But hey, they never did anything about it, and their wishes died with them, or they might have died a lonely death. That fact alone nearly guarantees that after you wrap up your presentation, you'll have at least one person who comes to you and say, I wish I had your guts to do what you just did. And right after he tells you, great presentation, thank them. You know why? Because they've just given you the ammunition you need in order for you to actually go out there, spread the word about what it is that you do, and change lives and transform businesses, or whatever it is that you're doing these days. All right? So, when is your next presentation? Do you know that what you talk about in your in your presentation or what you are going to say will be something that can actually change somebody's life. So just make sure that it's not about you. Just make sure that you really go out there and help other people do and have a happier existence. And once you are out there speaking, try and get somebody to record, these speeches, because you can now start creating them into a product that will definitely give you recurring revenue streams for having spoken once. Okay, so just go out there, speak, get it recorded, and you can actually create, businesses, or like I said, products that will skyrocket your profitability and actually ensures that your business remains 100% bulletproof, even during a lockdown, global pandemics, or even, market downturns. Because if you've got something recorded, right, you could always leverage it. All right. And if some people don't quite know who you are, you can literally send them that video that you would have spoken about, or you can actually send them a recording so that they can actually get to know and like and trust you. All right. So a lot of us miss out on the opportunity of creating profitable businesses because we are not out there helping people understand what it is that we do and how we can help them. And speaking could be a great avenue. And if you're going to be afraid of speaking, just remember, it is never about you. It's not about you. And just think about how you can transform and change the people in the audience lives. And let me tell you something, whether you get paid thousands of dollars or whatever it is for speaking, there's nothing as gratifying as having somebody come back to you and say, hey, because of you, I did not give up. Now imagine how many people, would come back to you, even if it doesn't happen instantly, but look out for opportunities for you to be that light for other people that are in darkness. I can't wait to sit in the audience and hear you speak. And I can't wait to actually congratulate you and high five you for having delivered a transformational speech. You know why? Because you never made it about yourself. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au